Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Gwen. Thanks for joining me today. I would like to share an Easter craft with you. This is very simple to make. Most of the supplies are from Dollar Tree. Let's get on with this project. So for this DIY, I'll be using one of these Easter signs that came from Dollar Tree. And it's just an unfinished wood sign that came with a jute twine hanger. The Easter wording on this is raised. That's the only part, as well as the bunny, that I will be keeping the way it is. The rest will be covered up. I'm also taking some of these wood eggs that are plain, also in a pack from Dollar Tree, and using various types of moss. I'm also using 2 types of greenery that you see here. Those came from the 99. And these carrots I didn't end up using. I went with orange carrots instead, and you'll see that at the end. Some of the paints that I'll be using in this video are Waverly's copper color. It's a metallic color, as well as this glitter paint in gold by Craftsmart. That's from Michaels. I'm also using an opal white color by Waverly. It's also like a pearlescent type color. And I also have burnt umber by Apple Barrel and truffle by Waverly. So I decided to go with truffle, and you'll see that at the finished look. And this King's Gold color will be used throughout this project as well. So first things first, I am painting the word Easter with this metallic copper color. Then I'm taking some of this truffle colored chalk paint by Waverly and painting the bunny in this brown color. Essentially, I wanted to give this bunny a chocolate bunny look. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I did end up changing that. I felt like the brown was too dark for the overall look. Next, I'm taking some of this green paint by Apple Barrel. You can use any type of green that you want, but I already have this on hand, and this is just for the under layer. This piece will be covered in moss, so it really won't matter what type of green you use, just as long as you're covering up most of that natural colored wood. So when you put your moss down, you're not seeing the little spottiness of the wood color. It'll just sort of camouflage with the green paint. When the paint was dry, I took 2 types of moss, reindeer moss as well as floral moss or green moss. And I like the reindeer moss because of the contrast it gives to the floral moss. It's more of a brighter green, and it adds more visual interest as opposed to just using one type or one color of moss, since the floral moss is darker green and the reindeer is more of a brighter green. So I do like the contrast that it gives. But you can use one type if you wanted to replicate this project. So here I'm just making sure to cover up the majority of that green paint. So basically I'm wanting to give this sort of a moss wall, so to speak, sort of like a hedge look, like a moss hedge or like a wall covered with moss. So that's essentially the look I was going for in this project. So this is why it's important to sort of paint your background with some type of green color. So in case you have any spots that you missed with the moss, you're not able to see that wood finish underneath. It just sort of blends. So you're gonna wanna make sure you get into all the nooks and crannies in between the wording and the bunny and all the details. And you also want to trim off any excess if need be, just to give it more of a clean look. But here I'm taking some of that greenery and just cutting off a few sprigs here and there and just varying up the look by gluing these greenery pieces throughout the whole project, and making sure that I spread out the bright green and the dark green. And again, it just kind of gives it that look of a moss wall with some bits of greenery sort of sprouting through, which I think gives it a really cute look. Next thing I decided to do was to add some of these wood Easter eggs, which I painted in various colors. So actually two of them will be in this King's Gold color. And then two will be in the opal white color. And I left one to be painted in the copper color. Then I wanted to lay out my pieces just to see how I wanted them to be placed throughout this DIY. So at first I was liking how it was looking, but then I remembered I do have a pack of laser cut wood pieces for spring and Easter that I wanted to utilize since I already had them in my stash. So to add some more visual interest and texture and layers, I went ahead and grabbed some of those Easter egg laser cut pieces with the different designs and used them on top of each of those plain wood eggs. And I thought just by doing that, it elevated the look of those eggs, just added more interest and texture. And I really didn't do anything with them other than glue them onto those plain eggs. I left them the natural color that they were. I felt like it gave a good contrast to the paint color of the eggs already, and it didn't really need anything to be done to them. I also decided to take one of those bunny pieces and just to add it here to this project. So then I start to glue all my pieces down and attach them to this project. So I always like to lay out my pieces before I glue them permanently, just to make sure I like the placement of things, that it looks good to me, everything is balanced. So I tend to do this in all of my DIY videos if you haven't noticed. I like to call it dry fitting, just to lay out all the pieces, just to sort of give me an idea of how I want things to be attached. So with that bunny, I decided to paint it that gold glitter paint. And it does come off looking a lot more yellow in this video since I was using a paintbrush which I had previously used with that King's Gold. So it sort of just rubbed into that bunny. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I did end up changing my mind and painting that chocolate bunny in a different color. I just went with the color Prom Queen by DIY Paint. It's just a very light blue color, and I sort of gave it not really a dry brush, but a little bit heavier, but still making sure that the undercolor showed through in little areas. So it just gave it a little more of a distressed look just by doing it this way. And I like how that came out much better than having left it brown. It just gives it that pop of color, that little spring color, and it doesn't blend in with the rest of the moss. And I thought I was done, but then I decided in the last minute that I wanted to add something extra to the border of this sign. I just felt like it was sort of floating. It didn't really have anything to anchor it down. So I decided to use some jute rope from Dollar Tree and just hot glue that all around, just outlining the shape of this sign. And now I think that looks a lot better. It feels more complete, more finished. I am very happy with how this one came out. It is super cute, super adorable, just taking a simple sign from the Dollar Tree and making it look more high-end, more store-bought, just by adding a few things to it and customizing it to make it your own. I did forget to mention that I added a few sprigs of fern leaves to the right and left sides of this DIY just to complete the look. I love how this one came out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and please comment down below and let me know what you think. And as always, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to have you as part of my creative family. I will see you in the next one. Take care and have a great day.